Yep.
There's sound. My last shoot yesterday was this cop and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
Nice couple. I mentioned them yesterday when we were talking in the afternoon. They want to get some family pictures later, but he and I stood around chit-chatting about fucking guns and stuff for a while. I told him about the show. It'd be a trip if he happened to tune in this morning. Ooh, I almost hit the go off button instead of the go forward button. That wouldn't be the one we wanted. David, fuck you. I won't do what you tell me.
Well played, I guess.
And there it was.
Well, this is an episode about guns, so it's going to get deranked anyway, so...
Yeah, I mean, come on. So, let's do this. Before we dig into the DGUs, not a topic, a complex thing I want to go into. I want everybody that's watching right now, do me a favor, go ahead right now, hit that share button, and share it to your Facebook, your Twitter, your wherever. And let's see if we can't do that more and more going forward to get these live streams looked at a little more.
Yeah.
Had a bump in that episode. Well, Steve, she shouldn't have woken you up. She should have gotten her own pistol out and gone to investigate.
Well, she's a kid.
Indeed.
If we're going to remain legal, and I use that term loosely, she should get a rifle and go investigate.
Oh, he said B. She is legally old enough to carry a firearm.
Oh, well, then, okay.
We're old, buddy. Our buddies have adult children.
I don't feel old.
Well, since the pile of poo was 22 years ago. Wow.
Oh, well, in that case, yeah.
So what are we doing this morning, baby?
Firearms Friday. It's
Hell yeah.
my favorite day of the week.
And frankly, the only reason we're not already doing a DGU right now is because I'm popping over to the show link on YouTube. And I'm going to share it just like I told you guys to do. Except I'm not going to share it on Twitter because we're actually live on Twitter right now. You know what? Screw them. Get you some, Twitter.
Okay.
And I'm going to do something. I don't think I've ever done this one. I'm going to share it to flipping Reddit. I don't really do much with Reddit, but who knows? Maybe we could drag in some liberal troals. Oh, apparently I've been locked out of Reddit. I wonder how that happened. So, no. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You suck.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All
Okay.
right. I'll go first. Security guard shoots armed man during argument at gas station.
Hell of an argument.
Wow. So, Chicago. Ooh. Okay, so here's the thing about Chicago. The armed man is almost never legally armed in Chicago because Chicago is a rogue state acting in direct contravention of the United States of America, which is an act of treason being committed by a small territorial government. And it is not a treason against the U.S. government. It is treason as defined in Article 3, Section 3, but it is specifically a treason against the citizens who expect to have a constitutional republic, who expect for their civil liberties to be enforced by their government and not violated by it. So,
yeah, seriously, when you leave Chicago or California or the People's Republic of New York, and you come to, I don't know, Georgia, don't vote for a bunch of Democrats when you get here.
Yeah, I'll do you one better. Just like I say to all the other illegal immigrants from I don't care where. Go home and fix your own shit. Don't come and ruin mine. A security guard shot a man in the shoulder during an argument early Thursday morning on the south side. Well, we already have it. There are no warning shots. The closest I have ever fired to a warning shot was shooting the one guy in a group to let everybody else know I meant it. They usually look at him as he hits the ground. Yes, I have more than one recorded experience in this matter. And they quit. It's really effective. That's the closest thing you should ever fire to a warning shot. The guard, who was licensed to carry a concealed gun, he's one of both of them, yeah, shot the 30-year-old man after he pulled a gun from his waist during a verbal altercation with a gas station clerk around 12:30 in the morning in the 4200 block of South Wentworth. The offender fled and took himself to the University Chicago Hospital, where he is listed in fair condition. Police were able to identify the offender and place him in custody. Details on criminal charges are not known. Area 1 detectives are investigating. Wow, this one is short on details.
Well, it's from Chicago. Like, they don't...
Well, we know it was a non-white.
Right.
The offender was identified, and they didn't deign to disclose the identity here.
Yeah, so he's not white. He didn't vote for Trump. But right. I thought Chicago was MAGA country.
He may be gay.
But I thought Chicago was MAGA country. What, that frozen bleach he had under his coat didn't act as a bulletproof shield?
According to police here in Bowie, this does appear...
You go away now.
You be quiet.
This one's yours, brother.
Okay. I just wanted to follow up real quick. All shots are warning shots.
I was reading this. I'm reading this book. I've read it. Well, listening to a book on tape. There's a scene where the guy pulls out his revolver, and he pulls the hammer back to make his point. And the author actually goes so far as to say, "No, listen. Pulling the hammer back on a double-action revolver is totally unnecessary. But it sure does make a particular statement." And then right after that, the guy's in a fist fight with the bad guy after they've both knocked each other's guns away, and he headbutts him in the face. And he says, "Son of a bitch, that stings." And then the narrator voice comes in. He says, "You know, if it's a stupid idea and it works, it's not stupid."
A 16-year-old and two 17-year-olds have been charged.
Mechanical punctuation.
A 16-year-old and two 17-year-olds have been charged as adults due to the severity of the crime, police said. In addition, a 15-year-old was charged as a juvenile. A group of 4 teens has been arrested and charged after allegedly attempting to rob a victim just after 5 p.m. on Tuesday. Bowie police said they were called to the 14900 block. Would you say that the 14,900 block, whatever, of the Health Center Drive for reports of gunshots and a robbery, which is near the Bowie Health Center. A Oh, this is in Maryland. Okay.
I would say that if you're having a hard time reading the location address because it's the 14900 block, you're in the wrong city. Go to somewhere with peach trees.
Well, apparently, if you're in Maryland, you're just in the wrong.
This is correct.
According to police, the victim was approached by 4 suspects who had handguns. The victim then took out his own handgun, which police believe they did in self-defense. Well, no shit. The victim ended up shooting one suspect. Police say the victim did end up shooting one of the suspects. Good God, somebody gets paid more than both of us put together to write this shit.
I know.
The group then fled the scene, according to police. Police found the 15-year-old suspect nearby, and the 17-year-old suspect was identified after turning himself into treatment for his gunshot wound. Okay. The other 2 teens were found after crashing a car that police...
But police say was reported stolen in Virginia.
Prince George's police found the car, the teens, and 2 firearms after the incident in Glendale. In total, the police have now arrested and charged a 15 and a 16-year-old of Hyattsville and Upper Marlboro, as well as 2 17-year-olds from Hyattsville and Bladensburg.
Bladensburg.
Yeah, I guess. The 3 oldest teens have been charged as adults. Look, I'm all for not piling unnecessary criminal charges on somebody. In fact, I dare say that is one of the things that the left is sort of accidentally right about. People are routinely overcharged in this country. But if you're going to charge 3 of them as adults, because, they committed armed robbery.
Yep.
Why are we not charging the 15-year-old as an adult? I mean, there could be more to the story, but it just seems a little weird.
And Steve's pointing out that these 4 Utes who are engaged in recreational felonious activity are also left undescribed of physical characteristics.
So again, we know they're not Trump voters. Well, they're not old enough to vote, but the joke still stands.
I don't know, they may be in Maryland. Bunch of damn Democrats. Find the stupidest person you can. Give them a free crack pipe and then register them to vote. No, we don't care if they can use the potty on their own.
Just make sure that they're in leadership of BLM.
Get them some crack and a ballot.
No, just make sure they're in leadership of BLM.
Yeah.
I thought it was totally okay for me to vote.
Yeah, totally.
These individuals are dangerous people. That's evident by their actions last night, Neske said in a conference in response to a question from WUSA 9 Scott Broom. I believe that this is probably part of a larger trend we are seeing in the area and around the region. Again, no shit, really?
Especially as it pertains to juveniles who are forced to mask.
If you don't have those support systems, if you don't have any other kinds of guardrails or systems, you're going to get these kinds of actions. Hear more of the Chief's comments below. No, I'd really rather not, because Chief sounds like he might be a bit of an idiot.
So this isn't complicated. You stop enforcing the law and you force everybody to wear masks, and crime increases. This is not something that we have to speculate on.
There's noise.
We have 2 years of
noise.
data.
There's noise.
It's not that one.
Well, it was that one.
Oh, it was that one. Okay.
But whatever.
I have defeated the noise. My ears aren't great, so...
Support system. Yeah, support. No. I guarantee you, over there in Maryland, they got plenty of support system. I guarantee you they got all the welfare you can sign up for.
Oh, yeah. Like clean needle exchanges.
Man, that is never, ever, ever going to get old.
Nope.
I mean, we're going to be in our 70s and our grandkids are going to be like, why do you keep saying Crack History Month, Grandpa? It was 2022. You had to be there.
Except you didn't want to.
Except you really didn't want to.
I mean, in theory, this year could still shape up to be better than the last 2 years.
I mean... It could.
Red wave.
Well, I mean, it's entirely possible. Just because, you reach a certain point where, like, that whole thing about how a broken clock's right at least twice a day. Same basic principle.
Right. As long as we don't get a crack bear or a crack gator. No, it was crack bear. It was meth gators. Who had meth gators for July?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, this headline. This is more Chicago. This headline, though. Concealed carry holder shoots man who is armed with a knife in Rogers. Okay. Rogers Park, police say. Okay. On first blush, I ran through and I thought it said, concealed carry holder shoots man with a knife. Eat some words there, buddy. But no, they got it right. Okay. Concealed carry holder who was investigating a domestic disturbance at his neighbor's home shot a 19-year-old man who was armed with a knife on Tuesday evening.
Again, no description.
Again. After being shot, the injured man, still armed with a knife, encountered responding Chicago police officers who deployed a taser to take him into custody, according to CPD. Man, you're shot and tased. Bad day. Bad day. Officers were called to the 1500 block of West Juneway
Terrace.
Terrace.
Does it cauterize the wound if they get one of the electrodes close enough to the hole?
It does not.
Yikes. So you just get tased. But it makes all your muscles contract, so you probably increase in your blood flow.
Yeah, you don't want to get tased while you have an open gunshot wound. That is not the one you want.
Oh, yes, save lives, ban Chicago.
So officers called at the 1500 block of West Juneway Terrace to handle a domestic incident around 10:43. One of the calls came from the concealed carry holder, who told police that he heard a loud argument coming from his neighbor's residence, police said in a media statement. The CCL holder went to the neighbor's home where a woman was in the confrontation with her 19-year-old son, who appeared to be in the midst of a mental episode while holding a knife. Damn.
That's, wow.
Yeah, they're... mental episode. I mean, I'll give you a maybe, but this sounds much more like a drugs case.
Well, they often intersect. The problem is, like, you or I could smoke a whole bunch of weed, even theoretically do a line of coke the size of this desk, and it'd give us a heart attack before it would make us go crazy. But if you already have a proclivity...
Got a line of coke, I'd just get tired before I got to the end of it. That's a long walk.
The point is...
This desk is 2 full sheets of plywood.
The point is that if you've already got a proclivity to mental health problems, doing drugs can bring them right up to the surface. So, yeah, drugs probably had something to do with it. And while...
Drugs are bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I think drugs are great. They just happen to be bad for you.
Well, I'm going to take a bunch of drugs in a minute.
Right? Legal drugs. Okay, but while that makes... Look, it gives an element of tragedy to this story.
It does.
Like it really does. I would actually say it would be less sad if all 4 of the armed robbers, even though they were minors, had been shot in the previous story. Nonetheless, when you have crazy people, because here's the thing about crazy people, they are full of idgaff, as in, I don't give a fuck, right? 9mm, they don't care. Look, God created man and Sam Colt made him equal. Like, it's just a fact. So, sad, yes, but still, probably the best possible outcome in this situation. You've got somebody that's, as the Brits say, gone off his nut, or done his nut. Is it gone off his nut or done his nut?
I think it's gone off.
Either way, when you got somebody that's going crazy, they're holding a knife and they're screaming at their mama, getting shot in the leg is probably the most positive potential outcome.
Yeah.
And then getting tased afterwards.
Let's not forget, one of the outcomes includes him waking up the next morning in a moment of clarity to come to understand that he killed his mother with a knife.
Yeah.
And then he's got to sit with that forever.
Meanwhile, eventually, the bullet wound and the muscle spasm shock from the taser will eventually fade.
Yeah, one gets over being tased. I promise. It sucks, but I promise. The first time I was ever tased for training purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Steve,
as opposed to the other
remembers-
times you've been
Steve
tased.
remembers this situation, the situation that preceded it. The first time I was tased for training purposes, I was a little underwhelmed. I was like, yeah, okay, I got you. That sucks, but okay, but no, I'm still in this fight. It's cool, and that's largely because that was not the first time I ate a shitload of voltage. So, Steve's in the chat here. Yeah, by the time the Army put me in a situation where I had to eat a taser for training purposes, I had already had an incident working a hot control panel in a technically an oil refinery. It was at Engelhard, I think. Mm-hmm. And I got on the wrong side of a 480 control panel. So when you're talking about the control panel for 480 stuff, it's big electricity, and it got a bite on me, and I was locked down to the, couldn't let go. I was pretty good and well fucked up. And Steve Rodemeyer, our banhammer wielder from the heavens, saved my life that day when, having the foresight not to put his hands on me and try to pull me away from the panel, which would have killed the both of us, he slapped me in the face with a 2x4 and knocked me on my ever-loving ass. And that is the reason I find tasers amusing now.
So we have
that's not the only time I got ed up like that either.
So good morning to what I'm assuming is a new viewer on Twitch. Nightmare404 says, "Let's go, Brandon." We are aware of the trolls on Twitch. There are lots of commies on Twitch. Generally, we try not to ban people, though. We only ban people if they're spamming the chat or if they're saying things that can get us banned, even though...
Yeah, generally, send in the trolls.
Yeah.
Trolls don't come up well against the ogre. But once they start talking shit, sometimes they're fun to play with. It's when they start using those certain keywords where their words can cause us to get censored. That's when we start dropping the ban hammer on the trolls.
Right. Yeah. So let's see. Keep going.
Yeah, we got time for one more.
I hope so.
We're done with this one.
Shut
your
up.
fake hole.
Shooting death ruled justifiable after juvenile shoots back at intruder. Everything about that seems like a win so far.
Is this the next Daily Wire movie?
Richland County, South Carolina. Oh, yes. Here we go. A southern state. This is the first reason why this is done correctly. A recent homicide at a Columbia apartment complex has been determined to be justified after a man tried to break into an apartment and was shot by a juvenile, according to Richland County Sheriff's Department. On Sunday, February 6th at around 5 p.m., deputies responded to Gable Hill Apartments on Ross Road after receiving reports of an unresponsive van. Upon their arrivals, deputies say they found a man inside of an apartment who was deceased. That sounds like a DRT, baby.
It do. And we needed one this morning. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. Dead right there. During the investigation, deputies say they discovered that
affordable housing, the process to bring new housing units to the city.
Boy, that's annoying.
Did I find him? Did I kill him?
I think so.
Gotcha,
During the
bitch.
investigation, deputies say they discovered 2 juveniles were home when they saw a man trying to break in. The juveniles hid, but when the man entered the apartment, he fired at them. The juveniles were a he. Did you just assume somebody's gender? Deputies say that one of the juveniles shot back with a weapon that was in the home and struck the... Wow. So the kids tried to hide. Bad guy breaks in anyway. Bad guy sees the kids, opens fire on the kids, and then the juveniles returned fire. So basically, this situation went about as bad as situations go. And these kids had nuts on them big enough to knock the moon out of orbit because of their own gravitational pull, you see, right?
Yeah. Not like a trebuchet type of thing.
Right. Though that'd be a hell of a way to fight back against an armed.
All right.
Oh, you banned firearms? Tally ho, motherfucker. We continue to lose young people to gun violence. Oh, God, this story was going so good. This community problem will only continue until we get parents involved and young people involved in the solution. Let's pray and work together before we lose. No, let me, please. Look. This was the solution to the problem, you dipshit. Somebody broke into the apartment, and these children, okay, juveniles, according to the story, defended the homestead. Oh, okay, please continue. I'm sorry.
The children in this story knew where the firearm was located and apparently knew how to operate it. So my takeaway here is that Mommy and Daddy have taken at least some steps in the right direction to educate the children in the safe care and use of an important tool. Right? My children know how to use firearms to a lesser extent because my kids are all pretty young. Vera's coming along nicely, doing a little target practice here and there with BB guns, airsoft guns. And we've talked about firearms and safety. The kids know where the gun is, and they know not to touch it. That's something that we discuss in my home. In this case, it sounds like you've got parents who are responsible enough to own a gun and intelligent enough, at least to some modicum, to have educated the children on the gun. And because of that, these children aren't dead. This is the solution. And if you're a law enforcement officer who disagrees with that assessment, you're not just bad at your job. You are in violation of your oath of office and should resign in shame immediately.
Well,
because the Second Amendment does not say assuming your age or assuming your gender or assuming you're this or that or anything. It says the right to keep and bear arms shall have nothing placed within its periphery. That is to be infringed. This is a Cameron. This is a Cameron that is infringed. There are things near him. That's not... There are no constitutionally tolerable laws which mention firearms. Right. If the law says murder is bad, but it's worse if you use a gun instead of a knife, your law is constitutionally intolerable. If the law just says murder is bad, then it doesn't matter if it's a gun or a propane tank, or a Molotov cocktail, or a big old sack of nuts, or a Volvo in a circus tent.
Or, according to the
Murder
earlier story,
is bad.
A knife during a mental health episode. And look, again, with this virtue signaling bullshit, like, again, we don't have a description. I know, I was ignoring the chat. You're all funny, though. You're all hilarious. I don't feel infringed. I feel... No, I'm not. I'm stopping right there. But this virtue signaling bullshit, we continue to lose people to gun violence. This community problem will only continue until we get parents involved. Shut up. God. Seriously.
Your community problem continues because you disarm the lawful citizens, and you... It's not just that you let the criminals run free. You're powerless to stop them.
Plus,
one does not simply handle the Cameron.
Oh dear. Plus, seriously, Sheriff Leon, Plus, Sheriff Leon, seriously, when you say shit like this, you sound like you should be feeding Brian Stelter donuts by candlelight. Okay? Like, for real. Let's pray and work together before we lose another life. Okay, all right, I understand. You know, it sucks that the bad guy had to die, but it
doesn't.
I understand that it sucks that the bad guy had to die, but it would suck a whole lot less if the two juveniles who were not bad guys had to die because they weren't armed.
No, it would suck more. It would not suck less if the juveniles died because they were unarmed.
Look,
and I know that's what you meant.
I'm trying to get there between you interrupting me in the chat, just having too much fun with that. I'm trying to stay on point. But no, I'll tell you what the problem in your community is, Sheriff Leon. The fact that you think this is the appropriate response. Look, there is a world where, okay, I get it. You're a politician. You're probably elected in your county. You don't want to come out and go, woohoo, kids killed a bad guy. I get that, right? But there is a world where you come out and you make a solemn statement that's like, you know, it's unfortunate, but at least the children were armed and the parents were responsible. And, you know, I guess all things being equal, this is the best way it could have possibly turned out. Or you could grow a sack, and if you want to know what big nuts look like, look at these two juveniles that fought back against the person who was shooting at them, okay? Who was shooting at them, and still had the presence of forethought, you know, to fight back and actually kill the bad guy.
I'm going to push back on you a little bit here. Because what you're saying is, it's not optimal that the bad guy had to die.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
And that it's not good that the sheriff is, his response is, we continue to lose young people to gun violence.
I'm
this
definitely
problem
saying that,
will only continue until, and he's wrong to say. I'm gonna push it a step further. You are morally corrupt. It is a moral wrong to not celebrate the absolute victory of these two young men over their would-be murderer. And there is no tragedy in the death of this person who attacked these two boys and was eliminated in due course as he should have been, as he earned. He chose this, and he was awarded as such. And I will kill on this hill. It is morally corrupt not to celebrate the victory of good over evil.
Yeah. You've seen I'm sure you've seen all the versions of the meme this is how I sleep at night, knowing that you value my possessions more than your life. I can't believe you value your possessions more than somebody's life. Well, apparently the bad guy agrees with me. Yeah, here's a thought.
We have a consensus.
Yeah, like here's a thought, okay? We've talked about this before, about how some crimes are worse than others because there's a matter of intent, there's actions you have to take. If you run up on somebody's porch and you steal something off their porch, that's bad. You're a piece of shit, right?
Yeah, because it might have been my box of hearing aid batteries, you son of a bitch, and I'm deaf without them. Bring them back.
But you reach a certain point where you break into someone's home, and in this case, you break into someone... Shut up.
I'm just going to kill it.
It just did that.
They all die.
They all die. But when you break into someone's home, you know there are people there, and you begin shooting at them. I mean, how much more can we elevate all the bad things you could have done? I suppose we could find a way to try and throw, like, kitty diddling in. That would make it worse, but that's about the only thing that would make it worse.
Yep. All right. Well, it's 8:05. I've got a...
And Cameron is a two-handed grip. But don't use that teacup saucer thing. That's not going to work. It's not going to work, okay? But I'm real excited. You could treat it like a compound.
For a compact light carry
cheek
weapon.
Against it.
Yeah, for a compact light carry weapon, it's a big bore. So, it is Friday. We're going into the weekend. Y'all be safe out there. Don't drive drink. Don't fry bacon naked. And for God's sake, remain calm and carry one.
Carry
We'll
Cam.
see you Monday morning.